Yo, what's up guys? Universal Mastery. So what I do on my channel is I break down the occult sciences to an extremely practical level so that you can use them in your day-to-day life and get real, actual results. So what I'm going to be talking about in today's video is something that I had mentioned in one of my previous videos, and this is something that it is about time that I got to. Okay, so what I'm going to be talking about in today's video is a common understood concept when it comes to the development of most men, and in general this is just something that's really important to understand, just to have a knowledge of, okay, because there's a lot of benefit that you can get out of this. So what I'm going to be talking about in today's video is a specific concept called NoFap. Stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that I want to say is definitely make sure you go and check out my Patreon. Where you're going to find the link to my Patreon is going to be right in my description. It's going to be the first link at the top. Now, what I have on my Patreon are exclusive videos, and I'm going to have some exclusive videos that are going to be dropping weekly that are not going to be uploaded to my YouTube channel. Basically, these videos are specifically geared towards actually practicing and performing and getting real life results, okay? And then it's also going to be a balance of knowledgeable entertainment. So it's going to be videos kind of like this. Like, this is going to be entertaining, and it's also going to give you a lot of knowledge at the same time. So it's going to be a balance of both of those two things. So definitely make sure you check it out. In order to gain access to that exclusive content, you have to at least be a tier 2, which literally costs $9.95 a month, and that's a reoccurring payment. But if you do the math, that literally comes out to less than $1 a day. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford it with the value that's being offered. So definitely make sure you go check that out. Once again, it's the first link in the description. It says my Patreon, and I want to give a special shout out to the top tier members that are already a part of the Patreon. Their names are going to be mentioned right below that, link. So other than that, I'm going right into the video. So this is the thing. Okay, so NoFap. Okay, so this is a concept that I want to say has kind of blown up in our society. I want to say as of maybe about like somewhere roughly around 3 years ago. So basically, for those of you that have no idea what NoFap means, pretty much what it means is you refrain yourself from ejaculation. Specifically towards masturbation. So this video is mainly going to be geared towards men, because this is pretty much connected to our build. So when it, masturbation as a man and then masturbation as a woman is a different thing. So for us men, when we masturbate, the concept of NoFap is that we're letting go of our testosterone. So if you're doing it too often, you're literally draining yourself of your own testosterone, and the testosterone is literally the superhuman hormone that makes us as men powerful beings, that make us able to exert our willpower and just, create the life that we want to live. It's an essential hormone, and that's a fact. With women, it's a little bit different because testosterone isn't their primary hormone, so it's not the same effect. Like if a woman's masturbating all the time, it's not going to have the same effect as if it's a man. The man will pretty much be draining himself. So this is the concept. So when it comes to NoFap, and when it comes to, okay, so this is what I want to say. There's different levels of NoFap. Okay, so there's some ideas that say, okay, you can't masturbate. That's pretty much the common understanding. No masturbation, charge up your testosterone. Then there's some ideas that say, go ahead and have sex. If you're gonna have sex, that's okay. That's pretty much like a pass. Like, go ahead, you're fine. You can ejaculate that way. Just don't do it yourself. Don't masturbate. And then there's other ones that say, definitely, cut porn out. Definitely do not watch porn. So don't masturbate. You're cutting porn out. And I'm sure there's some people that do NoFap, and all they really do is cut the porn out, and they probably do still masturbate and things of that nature, which in my opinion would kind of break the point. So this, you know, there's levels to it. Then there's some people that are completely celibate, where they don't have sex and they don't masturbate, and they're just charging up all of their testosterone. Now, I'm going to share my perspective on this, and I'm also going to bring an occult background to it. I'm going to bring some science to this as well. And I'm also going to bring some esoteric understandings to this at the same time. Okay, so, and I also want to share with you what I believe to be the most beneficial way to practice this art of NoFap. Okay, so let me go right into it. So me starting my journey, okay, so me starting my path, you know, a couple years ago, I didn't know. I had no idea about this thing called NoFap. Okay, I had no idea that this thing called NoFap would really affect me in a major way. I had no idea that testosterone of sexual energy was literally one of the superhuman hormones for men. I didn't know, so I would masturbate every once in a while. Sometimes more often than others, and sometimes not as often as others. It just really depended on, you know, what time, you know, what I was going through at the time, honestly, because it's kind of like a drug. So in my past, I was unaware of that, and because I was unaware of that, I didn't know that I could charge that energy up. I just felt, you know, an urge, like, I feel like I want to fucking, you know, I feel like I want to have sex right now, so then I would go and do that. Now that I've studied a lot of esoteric sciences, now that I've studied the occult, now that I've studied myself, and I've become more aware of how I feel and more aware of my energy, but mainly when I started studying the esoteric sciences and the occult, there's a huge understanding that the Kundalini is also known to be the sexual serpentine energy. So basically, and I've explained this in some of my other videos, but the best way that I can explain it is it's your desired energy. It's an energy of desire. So obviously, when you wake up in the morning, there is some form of desire that you have to conquer your day. There is some form of desire that you have to do something because you feel like it's going to benefit you, and that is a desire. So the Kundalini serpentine energy is this massive desire that actually provides you this extra push. It provides you this extra power. It gives you literally life force. It can be healing. It can be transformative. It can do many different things, but it stems from this desire of doing a certain thing for a certain outcome, because at the end of the day, when you do that certain thing, you know it's going to make you feel better, whether that's short term or in the long term. Okay, so that Kundalini serpent can also be correlated to that testosterone that we produce naturally as men. So if we refrain from NoFap, then we are building up that Kundalini energy, and we are building up that serpentine energy, which means that all of our desires for, you know, whatever specific outcome it is that we have or that we want, it's just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And yes, there is going to need to be some form of discipline so that we don't just go and, you know, masturbate and then get rid of that, you know, that Kundalini energy. It will tempt you too, because you will feel an urge that you want to do this, you want to masturbate, you want to feel that euphoria of that climax. But that's the art of mastering your own sexual serpentine energy, is realizing that within yourself, realizing that desire, and just sitting with it and overcoming it. Okay, it's like slaying the serpent, slaying a dragon. Okay, and there's a lot of symbolism there. And once again, as men, when we charge that up, and in women, testosterone can be extremely powerful as well. But once again, when it comes to the NoFap, it's a little bit of a different science there. Once again, as I explained earlier in the video, when women masturbate, they're not releasing their testosterone. Actually, I believe it does the reverse. It increases their estrogen. So there can actually be benefits for women to do that. But for us men, when we do it, it exerts and it releases our testosterone. So that's a fact. And when you charge that energy, up, when you charge that testosterone up, when you build up that Kundalini, there's going to be many transformative properties that are just going to start to naturally, subconsciously, unconsciously, and consciously take place, because you're increasing you're increasing your willpower. Okay, you're increasing your desire towards everything that it is that you should be creating. Now, obviously, you have free will. There's a million things that you could direct that energy into. So you want to make sure that you're somewhat on the right path. You want to make sure that you're directing your energy into areas that are going to benefit you in the long run with longevity. But once again, it is, with great power comes great responsibility, and you are going to have great power. So you want to make sure that you're guiding it in the right areas. But as you build it up, you will realize you start to feel better. It makes you more clear-minded. Once again, it gives you more willpower so that you're more confident when you say certain things, when you do certain things, because you just feel this like certain strength about you. Rather than if you're always, masturbating and you're always fapping, you're getting rid of, your energy, your testosterone, you're gonna feel way more lethargic. You're gonna feel a lot more relaxed. You're gonna feel a lot more passive. You're not gonna be able to, you're not gonna really want to exert your energy all the time, because you're gonna feel like it's gonna be a waste of your energy, because it's gonna be a lot harder to exert certain things. But that's unfortunate, because that's how you create. That is how you create. Okay, so that is that. Now let me go into my perspective, because I am always going to be a firm believer of balance, because balance is the absolute key. And from all of the spiritual works that I have dove into and all of the studies that I have gone into, there is nothing that can trump balance. Okay, so especially when it comes to the tree of life, there's different spheres on that tree, and they all correlate to different growing processes that you have to undergo within your own self-development. And then there's a left pillar, and there's a right pillar, and then there's a middle pillar. And the most beneficial pillar that you can travel is that middle pillar, because it's going to be the balance pillar. It's going to literally be the observer pillar, where you realize like everything, like every right, every yes, every right has its no and has its wrong. Okay, every pole has its complete polarity. Okay, there is no this is right and this is only right and this is it, because there is totally a different perspective that completely contradicts that one. So you always want to walk in balance, and you want to know what is best for you. You want to know what decisions are going to move you further. So that should be your right. But just remember, even though that may be your right, that may be the most beneficial for you, doesn't necessarily mean that is the right for somebody else, or that's the most beneficial thing for somebody else. So that's why you want to walk the middle pillar and be wise and realize that there are two sides to it. Okay, you stand in the center of duality, and you realize duality is real. It really does exist, but it doesn't operate. It doesn't run through you. It doesn't operate through you. You operate on top of duality, and you observe it. And most society is either engaged in one side of duality, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So from that balance perspective, this is the way that I approach NoFap. So I don't masturbate anymore. Okay, I don't do that. Okay, and I want to say I've been practicing this pretty recently, because I started studying this, because I didn't really know. So I haven't masturbated, and I want to say maybe like close to 3 months now. I just haven't done it. Okay, and when I studied it, and when I dove into it, and I saw the esoteric side to it, and I also saw the science in it, I was just like, I'm bought in. Okay, I'm gonna do this, because I could see how this is true. So I haven't masturbated in 3 months, and the way that I approach it is that when you're not masturbating, when you're building up that sexual energy, there are going to be times where you are going to feel extremely electric. You're going to feel extremely like you want to just share, and you want to have this like massive climax, right? Like the desire is going to get strong. And because I've been building it up for, I've been on that NoFap for roughly 3 months, that I've hit a couple of those peaks. Now it also depends on where you're at in your own spiritual journey. Sometimes you go through periods where you go through massive disillusion, and NoFap is great during those times too. It's absolutely essential, but you're not gonna, like, when you're going through stages of dissolution, you're not even gonna really have many desires whatsoever. So don't beat yourself up. This is just giving you a little bit of a context of probably what most people are gonna feel. But if you're going through stages of dissolution where you're losing your ego and you're in a state of, you're in self-serving, where you're serving people, and that's where you're finding the true meaning of life, once again, NoFap is still going to be very beneficial for you, because it's going to increase your testosterone. It's just going to increase many aspects of your own consciousness. It's going to make them more receptive, more exertive. It's just going to be better for you regardless. But in general, what most people are going to resonate with is when you practice this, there are going to be times where you have extreme amounts of desire, where you're like, fuck, like, I kind of want to fuck, straight up. Like, I want to have fun. Like, I want to do something. I need to release this tension. And I am a firm believer that that is actually important. Okay, with every buildup of energy, in order to, especially when you're working with like the astral plane, and when you're dealing and actually doing magic, which is invisible science, where you're using your mind to imagine certain things, and then they happen here on the physical plane. That's when you know that shit is no joke. That's when you know that you're tapping into something extremely ancient that is not being talked about in society today. But the same concept, when you're doing magic, you put a lot of energy. You use that desire in the astral. So you're sitting there. You're imagining what it is that you want to happen. You're imagining what it is that you want to transform in your life. You're imagining what it is that you want to bring in, or what it is that you want to put out, what it is that you want to transform yourself into. You're imagining these things, and you're building up that energy with that desire. And now, like, you may have incense in front of you as an offering, and as you're sitting in front of those incense, they're flowing into your nostrils, and they're helping to thrust you into that state of mind, because incense have a specific smell to it that correlate to specific planets. They correlate to those specific spheres within yourself that govern certain areas of transformation, which can bring certain levels of abundance or transformation, whatever it may be, healing. Depends on what scent you're using, but it's all thrusting you into this massive state of creating, and it is essentially a godlike state. So you're building up all this energy, and you're just putting it in. You're just imagining almost, you're imagining as intensely as you can what it would feel like to be where it is that you want to be. And you're doing it to the point where at the end you should be exhausted. You should have released all of that energy, and you're exhausted. And then you close the ritual, whatever it is for yourself. If you had candles, blow out the candles. Announce that you closed. You closed your working, or whatever it is, and then you leave. You leave that space where you just had created all this energy, you had imagined everything, and now you should be tired because you exerted all your energy, and that was a release. That was, you could say, like an astral release. Okay, you had just put in all this energy, use your mind's powers, the abilities, and now you're exhausted. You released it all into the astral plane, and the next thing you know, the next day, the next couple days later, maybe a month, depending on how good you are at this, how skilled you are, how well you perform, these things that you imagine will literally start happening, because you're tapping into the code of the astral plane. You are literally tapping into energetic frequencies and codes and setting them in stone on the astral plane, which then literally comes down to the physical plane. Okay, and then it's literally going to start manifesting in your day-to-day life, and that's where you get the fruits of your works, you could say. So it's the same thing. So in order to have those things actually manifest here on the physical plane, you have to have that release of energy. So release is just the other side of building up. So once again, if we're coming out at this from a balanced perspective, you want to be in the middle. So you don't want to just be like, oh, I'm only going to build up all this energy, I'm going to hold it for the rest of my life, and I'm never going to fucking ejaculate again. That's going to be extremely, one, I would believe, not as beneficial, and I would say extremely kind of a waste. Like, yeah, you might have built up all that energy, you might be extremely like energetic and stuff, but you might be overdoing it. Like, you might miss out on something important, okay? You might miss the mark because you think that that is the key to life or whatever, when the key is always going to be balance. So what I do, the way I approach it, is that when I feel that extreme urge of wanting to climax, when I feel that extreme urge of wanting to release, I will literally get on a dating app, and I will know that because I'm in the state, because I have charged myself up this much, I'm going to find somebody that's going to be perfect for me to have that release. And this may sound a little strange, but it's almost like the universe, the spirits around me, my guides, they understand that balance is key, and they understand that if I'm in that state where I've charged myself up that much and that I need to get that release, because I don't want to do it to myself, they will literally, like, I will literally find somebody on a dating app that will be that for me, and it will actually happen. And this is coming from real experience. It happens very quickly. Like, I'll just get on a dating app and I will find someone that I'm really attracted to, like, actually someone that looks really good, and then, you know, we'll hang out, we'll have usually a good conversation, a spiritual conversation, because whenever I tend to, like, connect with somebody on a dating app, they're always spiritual, because as within, as without. So I'm literally being drawn through that law where they're operating on one level of their own spiritual development, and I'm operating on my level. And one of two things: we're either on the like very similar levels, or we're going through certain aspects of our own development that we can offer each other value with by sharing our experiences. So that's just what happens when I connect with people on the dating apps, because one, I'm very spiritual. I take my spirituality seriously, and yeah, and then I've been charging myself up, and I've been staying true to this principle of the NoFap. So I will literally go on that app, I'll connect with them. Sometimes I'll start it off like, hey, you want to go, let's go meet up somewhere, let's go get to know each other. And sometimes it will literally just take off, like, hey, do you have condoms? Hey, do you have condoms? Let's go, like, let's like right to the fucking point, right to what it is that I need, that release, because that's an important aspect. The release is important. So once again, it's like the universe is working for me to help me get that release. Okay, and then and then we hang out, we have a good conversation, and then boom, it happens. Right? I get that release, and it's amazing. Now, in reverse, if you are not charging yourself up, if you're not practicing NoFap, if you're not practicing to master that sexual Kundalini serpent within yourself, that energetic desire, if you're not mastering that and you're just letting it loose every time you feel it, every time you have that urge and you can't control it, then let's say, like, you're looking for some sort of connection on a dating app, you're looking to hook up with somebody, you're gonna connect with completely different people. You're gonna be because as within, as without. If you can't control yourself, you're gonna find people on that dating app that probably are gonna be out of your control. So that means that you're probably gonna connect with somebody that is completely not aligned with who you are as a person. They're not on the same spiritual level as you. And in order to fully get them to be, engaged with you, you're probably gonna have to step outside of yourself. Meaning you're going to have to placate into their frame in order to get them attracted to you. And this is speaking if you are not practicing NoFap. This is speaking if you're coming from a place of, I want this, I want someone that I can have sex with, I want to find somebody online, I want to do this, I want a girlfriend, whatever. You're looking too hard, you're trying too hard. It's not for you anymore. You're doing it. It's not for you in your own growth anymore, I should say. You're doing it just for your ego. Like, I just want to have somebody else that can, I can have sex with, even though I'm not even practicing mastering or building up or charging that sexual energy. And then that sexual energy that you charge up is attractive, okay, because it creates an electricity, and that electricity is extremely masculine. And if you connect with a feminine woman that is strong in her feminine energy, that is naturally going to connect. So if you have a natural, strong masculine energy, especially from charging up from NoFap, you are going to connect with the counterbalance to that. That's another principle of balance. You're going to find an extremely feminine woman that is essentially going to be attractive to your own perception, and you're going to connect with her. But if you're not practicing charging up your Kundalini from NoFap, then you're probably in much more of a state of lethargia, and you're probably a lot more passive. Your own estrogen is stronger than your testosterone at the time, so you're probably going to be a lot more feminine. And then you're going to try and connect, you're going to try and find somebody, however you find. Maybe you'll try and find them like going out, maybe you'll go to the bar, you'll go to the club, whatever it is, and you may very well connect with a woman that's just not that feminine. Maybe she'll be like a lot more masculine in an unbalanced way, because you're not balanced, okay? And it's as within, as without. So you're going to attract what you are. So if you're not balanced, guess what? You're going to attract someone else that's not balanced. And if you attract a woman that's a lot more masculine, and it's not a real masculine, like she's being masculine because she thinks that's how she needs to survive, when in reality she really needs to be a lot more feminine and work on that aspect of herself, then guess where that's going to put you? That's going to put you as the woman in the relationship with her, or the connection with her. And that's just not going to be good for your own spiritual development. It just shouldn't have happened in the first place. Okay, so that's pretty much the picture that I want to create. So whenever I feel that massive urge, and typically it will happen for myself, I mean, it can vary, but I would say typically once a week, or yeah, I would say once a week is a good time. Like once a week, while I'm charging this energy up, at the most 2 weeks, I will feel that urge where it's like, I need to fucking climax. I need to find somebody. I need to have a good time. We need to connect. And whenever I do that, as I'm charged up, as I've been practicing, building up that Kundalini energy, that desire building energy, I will find that person so quickly. And it will not only be so quick, but it will be amazing, because I'm connecting with a great person. I'm connecting with someone that I'm actually connecting with, someone that I actually like being with. Now, once again, depending, and it takes a level of skill of discipline here too, because some people, when they have those types of connections with other people, they get hooked. It's an emotional spike, and they're like, oh, I want that person to be my girlfriend. I want to be in a relationship with that person. But sometimes you got to realize that you're going through certain developmental stages of your own growing process, and you're not meant to be in a relationship. Okay, sometimes you go through that, and even though you connected so great with somebody, so great, and you could see yourself being with them, it may not be time for you to be with that person. It may be time for you to really take all that energy and that, you could say, once again, desire, and put that into what is going to be best for you, self-serving for you, when it comes to your knowledge, when it comes to your studies, when it comes to what you clearly understand about Mother Nature, life, the universe, the principles, the occult principles and sciences that govern everything about you. Okay, that is very common too. So you have to have a level of discipline. Okay, and then you may connect with that girl. You have that climax, you got your release. The next day, right? The next day comes, you're not on your phone like, hey, let's hang out again today, or whatever the fuck it is. You're not doing that, because you realize that was a part of the process. That was a gift from the universe to give you that release. So the next day, you're gonna feel a lot more relaxed. You're gonna feel a lot more laid back, because you got that release. And then what is your goal? You gotta build it back up again. And then you will naturally know when it's time to connect with somebody else, because you'll be feeling that massive urge, like extremely explosive urge to just be, I gotta find somebody today, and do that. And it can be a pattern. And then eventually, when the time comes, as you progress, as you grow, you will eventually come across a significant other, or someone that can be that, someone that you can connect with on a level where it is time for you to engage in a relationship. Because by then you will have mastered your own sexual energy. You will have mastered the NoFap. You will have mastered a lot about yourself, learning about who you truly are. And now you're ready, because you know discipline now. Now you're ready to engage with somebody else, and to share with somebody else, and to also learn from somebody else, and not let that other somebody else control who you are, because now you know who you are, and you know what boundaries you need to set for yourself. You know what is most healthy for yourself. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave it at, guys. There is absolutely tons of benefits for NoFap. Once again, I keep it in a balanced perspective. This is the moral of the story. I keep it in a balanced perspective. I do not masturbate anymore. I do not fap anymore, but I do still release. I do still climax, and that's going to be with somebody else. Now, personally, I'm attracted to women, so I will, once in a while, when I feel extremely charged up, usually it will be once a week, but every 2 weeks at the most, I will go out and I'll look for somebody to, you know, have a good time with. But I do not masturbate. I don't do any of that. I don't do any fapping. I let it build up naturally, and I let the universe bring somebody in my path so that I can get that release for myself, and then, you know, and then I go right back to the cycle. I build it back up, and then once again, within time, the moral is you will come across somebody that it eventually will be time where you can engage and you can have, you know, somewhat of a relationship. But once again, it's all geared towards your own self-development. If you are not ready for that yet, then it will not happen naturally. Okay, when you are ready, it will happen naturally, and trust me, you will recognize that. So other than that, guys, definitely make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. Also, come over here, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because I'm posting videos as often as I can. Definitely make sure you go and check out the Patreon. It's going to be the first link at the very top of the description. Go to the link below that. It's going to take you to the Streamlabs merch, where you can order a Hecate sigil shirt, which I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna have that merch page for much longer. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm gonna change the merch page. So definitely make sure you check it out while it's there. You can order a Hecate sigil shirt, and they will literally ship it right to your door. Then go to the third link below. It's gonna take you to the Facebook community. You're gonna see a pin post that says private group. Click that, request to join. I'll add you in. Other than that, I'm gonna wrap it up right here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day or night wherever you are, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.